Got a few orders in a row. Probably going to be slow now. Never know. Wherever there's food, there's people. It seems really important. Food. People don't want to be hungry. Nobody wants to be hungry. Like in a famine, dying, slowly. But there's a way for this to be true. And this is how it's said, which is a contradiction without any understanding. People are dying from hunger while they eat. People are dying from hunger while they eat because one is natural, they're eating. The other is spiritual, they're dying from hunger. So what came to mind, seeing this thing clearly, it's not about cheeseburgers. Although if someone did this would be wrong in the heart, is like, be blessed, have a nice day. And, you just like spit on them and leave and don't do anything. Sure, that would be connected to an evil work in the heart. But what is this thing really about? Be filled, be warm, be blessed. They need covering, clothing, they need food. And this covering gives some kind of comfort to the body, right? Literally. And the food fills up the hunger. So be filled, be warm and comforted, be blessed, have a nice day. Spit on them, right? Who hasn't done that? But I'm just sharing whatever I'm starting to see more clearly. This is for his people to know as they go on the way. They need spiritual food, truth, anything that's from above, whatever the Father gives to give. They need covering by the Creator, which also gives comfort. And that's why his Spirit is also called the Comforter. I mean, everyone's already in torment. It's a given. Should be a given. It's not a given, but the truth. They need comforting. So they need his covering, clothing. They need food. Well, spiritually, they need all that. And that's the only real thing. Because like in the beginning, someone could eat while they're starving to death. Someone can be warm while they're freezing. Someone can be comforted by their clothing while they have no comfort. What's the real thing then? The real thing is being filled and yet still starving. That's the real thing. So how do we do wrong? Or to know about this, be aware of it. For the spiritual Israel, for his people, what is this for? What is he saying? Forget all the food and clothing right now. What about if they're spiritually hungry, thirsty, no comfort, torment? And then we spiritually with the heart say, have a nice day, be filled with this cheeseburger, right? What's the real thing, the cheeseburger or spiritual cheeseburger? Give something, share the food, set off a little bit of food for someone else, like continually, not like one time, like every time you eat. The teaching and the law for Israel, every time you eat, or any meal, at least whenever someone eats some kind of meal, once a day or whenever they eat, set off a little on the side to give to people, which is giving to the Creator his things. By doing good to others is giving to him. How else do you give 10% of everything we have? Maybe we need to do that in the heart for real. It needs to be a literal 10%, Maybe it's a teaching. That's how we always set aside to give. Better to give than to receive for that reason. Because there's no blessing in receiving without giving. Unless, someone would like to show me the scripture where never giving, but only receiving is a blessing. It's like saying I need proof to believe, but they'll believe when they see. But there's no blessing for that. Only those that believe without seeing. Now, there's blessing for. And anything that's not a blessing ends up being a cursing, because there is no middle ground, one or the other. So they need spiritual food. They need truth. They need real words of hope. Are they going to believe right away? How would I know? But likely many will not. And maybe right away, maybe later, maybe never in this life. But if it was up to that, if it was up to the numbers, then we would never do any good. We'd just wait for the righteous bum and the righteous poor, which, bums are everywhere that don't know the Father. They're a bum. Poor, naked, miserable, wretched, poor, blind, naked, spiritual bum. If we're waiting for someone to be righteous and do good works, we'll be waiting for eternity to give something. It's never going to happen, because there is none righteous without the Creator. There are none righteous. No one is good. None do good. Not even one. So if we wait for that, that's pride. That's selfish. That's sin. Pretty big sin. It's what the world's doing. I'm seeing strange things so often. It's happening a lot. Strange things. It's like light instantly exposes darkness, and that's what it actually does. The natural picture says so. You don't even have to say anything. People will see and sense something. The lack of neediness, insecurity, cowardness, fear. They're like children that need a father, man. That's how they act. But they won't admit it. They're going to resist it, but that's the reality that they're resisting. So then what I see, and it's could come in all kinds of forms, the outward thing doesn't matter. It's what the heart is doing is the same thing. Is like desperately needing to be worshiped and recognized. It's in everyone that doesn't have the Father. They're not comforted. They're insecure, like a little kid without parents. If the natural is true, how much greater the heavenly Father, and not having him must be way greater than that. If something is true about anything that's natural, how much greater is it with the Creator compared to us? So that's something to see for his people, something to ask for, so we don't do that. See, so we stop doing that, start doing what's right, because he's gonna tell us to do things, and these are the excuses those that don't believe will make, but they're not even being told by the Heavenly Father. They're being told by the devil what to do. So they hear anything that has to do with truth, they're going to resist it. Actual truth in the heart, spiritual wickedness in high places. It's a spiritual wickedness, not literal. That's the focus and only understanding that's valuable by itself. Because if the spiritual wickedness is being taken care of, which is in the heart, then it will surely end up doing what's right. It will manifest. So then the outward thing will be real. That's what people don't believe. They won't believe it. They do so many things, they just know how to do evil already. We just already know when the devil is our father, sold under sin. He's going to buy everyone back. You're bought for a price. Why won't he buy everyone else back? He has the money. He has the power and goods to do it. He had them already, and he sells everyone. All he has to do is buy them back. Never would have thought in a million years that that's the understanding for being bought for a price, that there's actually a real meaning for everything. And it makes sense. And anything that's bought, we could also read sold under sin. The apostle saying, I was sold under sin, worshiping wickedness and not getting any good wages for it. The flesh, carnal, doing the works of the serpent, the devil, sold under sin, lying and saying, "You shall not surely die," for doing anything that breaks his word. So it's not about commandments and laws, some kind of robotic thing we have to just boom, keep, command like that. It's just listening to his voice, that's it, and being taught by him. He's not going to teach us contradictions from his word, so that's why we have all the laws and commandments for our benefit, our understanding, so that we could see things, read it and see the meaning. He gives the meaning, and then we could see the value in his word. Without any meaning or truth, there is no actual value. It's a deception to believe anything means something else is a deception. The false meaning and definition of anything. So there's a spiritual hunger, thirst, and lack of comfort, lack of food, water. This is never to say that all of a sudden we could just do evil and well, see, this is where he'll catch us in deceit, saying, "Oh, I understand spiritual things. I do that all the time, every day. Keep the Sabbath every day. I keep this every day. I don't murder." Yeah, that's spiritually. And then doing the natural thing, the literal sin, all the way, that person's a liar. No way someone could be giving truth, giving his word, giving food to the poor, to those that are starving spiritually, his truth, his word. But then they say, screw you, if someone needs actual food and they have an opportunity. And they say, screw you in their heart and don't give actual food. They're not keeping the spiritual thing either, the higher heavenly thing. No, they're not. Because it takes to break the heavenly thing to break the lower thing. It's connected like that. And yet it's not about the lower thing, because you could keep the lower thing while breaking the heavenly. That's very possible. But if we don't break the heavenly, we won't be breaking the lower thing in due time that needs to manifest. That's cutting off of the flesh, circumcising the flesh. It starts looking like what the heart is actually doing. But all by itself, it's possible to be circumcised in the flesh only. Look like that you're doing that, but no heart, for the false intentions, with no care or love, for no true intentions or care, doing it falsely in deception. It's possible to be circumcised in the flesh and not in the heart. But when someone's being circumcised in the heart, which is only done from above, from our Creator and Messiah, then the other thing will manifest. It's the lower thing, the easier thing. It's connected like that. But then the other side to this is doing something on the outside doesn't prove they know the Father and have inside being cleansed. Can't do that. But breaking something for sure on the outside, it's a discernment, something to watch out for, even self, and then discernment on others. Not to judge unrighteous, but it can be a discernment. And something very easy to see is something that's higher, that even carnal man will be like, oh no. If I were to see, if anyone was to see someone just stab someone on the street, it's a pretty good discernment that they don't murder in their heart, the heavenly higher thing. It takes to break that, to do the lower thing. But if someone doesn't stab someone in the street, they could walk by and hate them viciously in their heart and curse them and hope evil comes to them for doing good, in the case of light versus darkness. But even darkness is hating itself and divided. It can walk by and not stab the man or woman and have hatred in the heart. They broke the law. the spiritual law of don't murder. That is the higher thing. That's in sin. He doesn't bless sin. One can prove the other, but the other not back to it because of heavenly being higher. It all makes sense. It's logical and orderly. That if we keep the heavenly thing, the impossible thing, that we need the Father's works and power, then it's not such a great thing to keep the lower thing, that man can get a knife and circumcise himself. He can look good. Looking good doesn't matter. If the heart's not doing what's right, it's doing deceit, it's doing wickedness. But if it is understanding any law and being taught by Messiah and doing it in the heart, and then when it looks like it's doing this, it's actually doing what it always meant, then this is like the complete circle of righteousness instead of sin. Where there's evil in the heart, then there's a thought, and then there's the murder, and then someone like completes it all the way. It's like the full circle of death. So amazing to me how simple this is. Messiah is not Moses. He's heavenly, spiritual, for spiritual Jew, spiritual Israel. We have to be in agreement with Moses and acknowledge that's what's righteous, obviously, because the lower thing is the foundation for a house. You need a foundation for a house. If we reject the foundation in our heart, church world rejects it, nailed Moses to the stake, it's gone in their heart. They'll play games. That's what they do, though. That's the teaching. They could care less, most of the Gentile church world. They just remove the foundation. There is nothing heavenly to stand on now. That's why if we don't believe in, he says, he's telling everyone that. It's not just for one person. If you don't believe in Moses, you harlot, you church world, anybody. But I mean, specifically here to the Pharisees, religious leaders, false prophets of the church world, Christianity. If you don't believe in Moses, how can you believe in me? Because he writes about me. Oh, it's way deeper than that, but that's how you would say it. That's the connection with letters. That's the connection with words. Spiritual meaning is, there's a meaning. He writes about me, and it means something. Connected. The foundation is connected to the rest of the house above it. You take the foundation out, there is nothing else. You just took everything out. You just a lawless person in the heart. Anyone who takes out the law and nails it to the stake with their heart are lawless for sure spiritually, because they don't have Messiah. They have another spirit, because it requires the Father's way. Those that know Messiah also must come to this understanding and believe that the law and commandments are the foundation, and we have to agree with that is sin. That's like sin in the flesh, that's like the reason why it's really important is because there's a connection, there's a connection with stealing. The heart is stealing, but this is what it ends up doing. It's a sin, because it's a sin in the heavens first. That's the higher important thing. That's what someone does first in their heart, and then they go and steal. That's, you take out this law, you take out the foundation. Steal, don't steal. There's no higher anything. There is nothing, and that reality will be in someone's heart for real. Talking about real things. That's how the Father does his judgment. It will not be there. The Messiah is not there in them. They don't have his spirit. If they continue in this, this enmity for his commandments, and continue like that, they don't have Messiah. How can they? How can anyone? We have to believe that it exists and the law is righteous, but there's a way to use it carnally and actually be enemies of the Creator. So see the evidence just reading. It sounds like that's why this is the only understanding. It sounds like sometimes because it's going to sound like what people want for those that don't want it to exist. There's going to be scriptures just for them that it sort of sounds like, and instantly they jump on it because that's what they want to believe. That like the law doesn't exist, it's being trashed, it's dead. But on the other side of it, have to acknowledge it exists and agree with it, that this is what sin is, making it the foundation. But commanding people is killing. Letters is killing. This is how it can be used by carnal Jews. They deceive and trick people, and they're just as much of an enemy to the Creator as someone who nails it to the stake. See, that's the problem. All the Pharisees are a great example of carnal Israel, harlot Jews. They sit in Moses' seat. They didn't do away and nail it. He called them devils, serpents, snakes, and hypocrites. Why? Because their heart was wicked, deceitful. They honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. That's the first thing. That's the real thing. That's what he cares about. That's the heavenly thing. And you need a foundation first. Foundation is all his laws and commandments that we read. That's the foundation, and it's the end of that should be Messiah, leading up to Messiah. It already has to be there and agreed on, and it's leading up to, it's a guide so that we do keep these laws. He gives us the understanding in the heart, which Messiah teaches, and not Moses. But we need Moses as a foundation to get to the true Messiah, I mean, this is just something that already ends up being true for those that are called and ultimately chosen, which we can't know like that, like the Father knows, and get prideful about this. But I know that nobody knows this in the beginning, but this is what they'll end up believing and knowing. I mean, I'm saying this is what it has to be. No one that believed the first day understood this, but this is what we end up understanding and believing. Have to at some point. As long as we hate his commandments, I mean, that's pretty good evidence that they don't know the Father and they don't have the Messiah. Can't hate it forever. And can't be carnal. Can't be Jerusalem, carnal Jerusalem, spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Spiritually meaning things of spirit, things of the heart and mind, the real sins inside is called Sodom and Egypt inside, but it looks good, circumcised on the outside. Jerusalem sort of looked good, circumcised the flesh and did a pretty decent job, but looking good, the heart was wicked. But they're the example there in the desert of not wanting to keep his commandments. See, the many called complain, they die in the desert. I mean, this is true for many. What are we going to do? Say it's not true? We can't be saying that out of pride or something. It's a warning. It's for his people to know. This is how much enmity and this is how difficult and narrow the way is. It's like going through a journey in the desert, and there's like a promise at the end, but most of the people fall away quickly. So hopefully there's a few out there that haven't fallen away. And if that's be so, and of course there is a few, it's because of the Father's power and mercy on them. It's not because self did it. Self didn't do this. It can't do it. It can't do his way. When the apostle says that the natural man is not subject to the law of Elohim, our Creator, neither can it be. He's talking about the spiritual law. the heavenly thing, the real things. The natural man is at war with the Creator, and spiritual anything that's real. Spiritual things are also real. We're masquerading as a messenger of light. It's a show. It's fake. It's just outward. It's not real. It's not really what's going on inside the heart. What someone sees on the outside is not going on in the heart. So there's people that might look like they keep the commandments. On the outside, it looks like it. And one has nothing with him in the heart. And the other, it does. That's the only good way. That's the only way. One is hearing from the Father and one is not. In those two examples. One is hearing from Messiah and one is not. They're just, just speaking words. Thinking with their own understanding and remembering words and phrases, and goes after the knowledge, so-called, in its own little division or delusion. All doing this, but slightly different covers. Looks a little different. But I'm seeing inside, it's not real. It's doing this for all false intentions, evil intentions in the heart. Those that are doing this over and over again in his word. He calls his people a harlot houses. Doesn't call them that because they're not doing evil works, because they are actually doing evil with their heart. Creator, the Father, never speaks about just words without meaning. Someone is not unrighteous because they don't agree with some doctrine with words alone. Even though it's important, his teaching, very important, to get the leaven outside of us. But by itself, that's not what makes someone unright. They actually do evil in the heart. The works are evil. Israel's works, carnal Israel. Over and over again, examples of many called, few chosen. So close yet so far is like what I'm saying as a reality. And sure enough, that's what I read. Where the Creator is near everyone, really close, but yet eternally separated. Yeah, forget that word eternally. He's just separated. So like far, yet close. Near each one's mouth. But the mouth saying truth got to come from the heart. Otherwise, what it says is worthless. It's always with the heart. So the mouth actually confessing has to be going on in the heart that believe in him. But it can say it all day long and not know him and say the right words. Doesn't mean anything. Over and over again in scripture, the teaching's in there. Wolves in sheep clothing. I don't know that the phrase is in there anywhere in, the scriptures, the old covenant scriptures, if I must. I don't even like saying old anymore, but there's nothing old about it when all of his word is true right now. But the New Testament apart, separate it for a second. I don't know if that phrase is in there, wolves in sheep clothing. Maybe. I don't think so. It doesn't matter though. The teaching is everywhere. I don't know that many called, few chosen is in the scripture. Putting the New Testament aside for a second, in the old, in the scripture, Genesis through Malachi, his every word. I don't know that phrase is in there just like that. Maybe it is, but if it's not, he's teaching it all over his word. That teaching is there. The meaning is there. the reality, the examples are teaching it. That's teaching he has to give us to see that that's what he's teaching. You know, in the desert, many that died in the desert didn't make it to the promised land as types of finally making it to the real thing. So we haven't made it yet either. And yet something about it became a reality where we have made it. And now we're still walking like they did spiritually in the desert. And now we got to make it for real. It's even right now is a type of the thing to come. But that was natural with no spiritual reality. First the natural. And now for those that know Messiah, we make it. And yet we're still not making it because that's the scripture. They're on the way. They never, they finally get there. But when they get there, they got to the type of the promised land. Still wasn't the full reality, full thing. So then spiritually, getting there on the way, and then finally at the end, we get there. The Exodus complete. These things are amazing because every word applies and is true, and it's for his people and for things that haven't been fulfilled all the way yet. Just that it's spiritual Israel instead of carnal Israel. There's nothing that's past and now it's over and done. There is no scripture that exists like that. And yet, all things were fulfilled, and they still need to be. That's the understanding given me. And I can see, he's given me to see that any other understanding or teaching will be contradicted, exposed as a lie, with contradictions everywhere. Because there's no such thing as multiple truths, If whatever is true, anything but that truth, whatever it is, will be lying and contradicting and breaking his word all over the place. Those that believe, we believe in these things. It's a real belief, real hope. It's believed in the heart. Those that don't know the Father are hopeless. That's the reality. Forget what anyone says. That's what we read too. You also were apart from him, separate from him, lost, without a shepherd. He's speaking of anyone that's believed they were also this first in Egypt, hopeless, without hope, because that's the reality. The Father knows the heart. This is what he's made it to be. They're just pretending to be tough. Anybody that doesn't have the Father is hopeless. Their religion doesn't prove they have hope. It's hopeless anyways. How much hope does someone have when destruction's coming and they don't believe it and they're destroyed? How much hope did Jerusalem have then? None. Didn't believe, except the few disciples and a few others. And then there was like a stir up where there seemed like there were many more than normal. And then there is a falling away before Jerusalem's destruction. Also, the end will be just like that. I think it would be a lie to say we're not in the middle of a stir up, a latter rain, where there's a lot of things sprouting. But then at some point through the process, there's a falling away in the heart, just like has always been happening. Before the end, there's a falling away, just like we read, because it already happened. It's going to happen again. There was a judgment on all the earth. It happened. It was fulfilled. It's going to happen again, not with water. It's heating up. Judgments are heating up. Doesn't matter how it comes, it comes. Famine, tribulation, destruction, chaos. Out of chaos, order. That's what the world loves. That's what America is. Out of chaos, order. No. It sounds wise on this earth, sounds right. Forcing the chaos and with the heart of trying to control everyone more and more severely, worshiping their god, the devil, and money. Creating chaos is wickedness. That's what darkness always does first. It creates evil. It puts evil on someone. It does the evil, and then what they do doesn't count, but suddenly evil is on you now because they did it. Therefore, you're evil and you did evil. That's how it works. Blindly in the night, it's working like that. So then there won't be many actual believers at the end because there wasn't before. Going to be like Noah's day. He's talking about the real end. Not that any of this isn't always been true, but specifically, prophecy for all those that ever lived to believe, to understand. It's not going to be many, very few, extraordinarily few, because it's worse and worse at the end. The world is increasing in its darkness and sin, and then there's few believers decreasing, just like Noah's day. It's going to be like that, just like that. How many people lived on the earth during Noah's day? I don't know for sure, but 8 people out of the whole world isn't many. Might be the same percentage. I don't know. Can't know that. Don't know that right now. Not trying to find that out. Just knowing that it's very few, like Noah's day. The rest of the world will be in lawlessness with their heart and their mind perverted and darkened by the god of this world. I've been talking to one person I know, that we're in agreement on never going to be the same again. Once this corona thing started, it will never be like it was before. It's waxing worse and worse. The famine, we were talking about the famine. Might be a good idea. Not that this is the higher thing, but still, like I'm planning, Father willing, whatever he has me do, to really quickly maybe get some supplies if you can, store up a little bit, store up some for the famine, for a possible, more than possible, literal tribulation, hard times, because that's the end of every nation, a physical, literal tribulation. That Jacob is in a spiritual tribulation. This is what the harlot doesn't perceive. It thinks it's not going to go through literal tribulation. That is the tribulation for them. It's not the tribulation for his people. Being hated by all men for his name's sake is a tribulation. It's not that hard to see, to even say those words. It's not a reality for the harlot. It wants to be loved by all and loved by the world, as many as possible. Hated by all for his name's sake. Everyone except Messiah's people, everyone else will. That's the direction. Real hatred, real enmity, trickery, destruction. Overcoming sin and death is the tribulation. And something mentioned. We read Messiah overcame the world. He overcame mark of the beast, the world. What do they say? Did he not accept the chip on his forehead? Is that what that means? He overcame the world. And he's saying for his people, don't worry, because the Father can do the same thing. You can overcome the world. He overcame the world, the beast. Everything he overcame it. And what chip? It's a spiritual tribulation, overcoming sin and death. Keeping the laws and commandments in this world is a tribulation with our heart. What chip? It's totally blind and deceived. It's going to be waiting for some chip while another harlot church building is burned with fire. Judgment is real. It's coming, but it always was. It's already real. It's spiritual blinding. It's going to be manifested. It's being manifested. Real judgments and destruction on nations for sin. The sign of the times is seeing, perceiving that it's near, that the sin is, he gives his people that, to see that, it's near. The sign of the times. Look around, see. Carnal people and the harlot do not see that. It doesn't matter what they talk about. Mark of the beast, they won't perceive anything. All of Jerusalem, they could have been talking about the mark of the beast. I'm just saying that whatever they were talking about back then, all of Jerusalem, all of it, save his people that fled to the mountains. Not many. We're eating and drinking and going on as if it was just another day. That's how they live their life. Spiritually living like that. So therefore, literally not knowing either, like a thief in the night. Judgment comes suddenly on them, and hard times, and burned with fire. It's a lake of fire. There is no other lake of fire except judgment on the earth. But then it means something spiritual. Nothing to do with burning people alive after they live and die in some hellhole forever and ever. But there is a judgment. This lake of fire is the judgment. First water, then fire. Judgment on the earth for doing evil, nations. This isn't about some kind of eternal torture. There is no literal fire beyond that to torture people forever and ever. But there is a judgment, though, and it's going to be like that. Fiery destruction. They're already in the fire. If that weren't true, we wouldn't read, pull some out of the fire. Who, you receive some kind of thing from the church world, go and preach to all the nations, to every little person you see. I mean, they don't even do that. By their own doctrine, they do wickedness and contradict. Because grace has fell to all people, now they have to take it. So now they have to equally, without partiality, go to every person they ever see, all the time, every second they breathe. They don't go to that person. They already break their own way by them. They already break their own way according to their own teaching. They're doing evil and hypocrisy and contradicting. How come they didn't say anything to that person? It fell on all. Grace and salvation fell on all equally, everyone. Now they got to choose it. Well, you got to say something, right, to every single person. It's on them now to say it and save people, see? And that's what the harlot does. It goes out land and sea. It's doing this. It's what it's been doing. It has always been doing. His people just need to hear the Father's voice. We already know that many, this whole world, very few, hardly any, are going to believe what the Father's not going to send us to every single person in the world, and we're supposed to convert them with our powers, because grace has fell on all at the same time, and now they have to take it. That's going against his actual will, and by going against his will, they're completing what needs to be completed, so that those that see the massive lie and contradiction and stupidity and doing the opposite thing, just listening to him. If they actually believed many called, few chosen, and understood it, going to every single person, I just do this because scriptures say so. I'm a robot. Go to all nations. That's why I hold this sign up. That's how they try to defend themselves if they were questioned. They just blindly spit that out. What, with a hell sign, not even completing their own doctrine. They have to go to every person, everywhere, everyone they see, or else they'll be burned in fire for all eternity. And it was on them. How come they didn't say anything? They don't care about any of that. They don't believe their own doctrine. They don't believe in anything. It's just a cover. They don't even believe in that. It's just deception to believe in. That's it. They don't believe that you die and go to heaven themselves with their own heart. Doesn't believe in anything after death. It's an atheist in the heart. The fool in his heart says there is no Elohim, not with the lips. Big difference. That was an amazing thing that he showed me. Carnal man doesn't believe in anything from the Father. It's never received anything. It can't believe in anything for real with actual hope. The harlot doesn't have hope. It's a harlot. It's just as good as an unbeliever without hope in this world. It doesn't believe in it. It just has a doctrine that it says it believes in, and it will defend it because it likes that doctrine. It's exposed as desperately wicked for desperately wanting to believe in their traditions. It doesn't even believe in what it says truly in the heart, but they'll stand up for it. That is true. They'll defend it. That's true. But they don't even believe what they say. It's all a cover. Just a cover. The natural man does not receive the things of the Spirit of the Father. Harlot, if it's a harlot, doesn't know him. It's not receiving from him. It doesn't have hope. It's in destruction, the same destruction. Someone who says with their lips, atheist. It's the same atheist in the heart. Well, that scripture doesn't apply to very few people. The fool in his heart says there's no God. Right? Religion uses that verse. Using it deceitfully, has no clue what it's talking about. In his heart, they don't perceive spiritual things because spiritual things come from the Father. Spiritual things are connected with our heart. The fool in his heart says there is no creator. There is no Elohim, the Hebrew word, translated God in translations. The fool, that's in the heart. So someone, this is very deceptive world because it's not, atheists are not atheists because they say with their lips. In the heart. That could be anybody and everybody, and it is everybody first. My heart didn't believe the Creator even existed, even though I brought up in religion. I didn't know anything. Didn't believe in anything. Didn't have any hope for the reality. So, hope, real hope, scriptural, spiritual hope, the definition of the Father's hope. Something that we actually believe and perceive and really hope for, but they were without hope first. All believers, like we can read about them. You were Gentiles, separated from the Father, without hope in this world. That was the reality in their heart. That was my reality. It doesn't matter what, somebody says. That's what's in the heart. That was the reality. So brought up in the church world didn't cure my heart. Didn't do anything. Although I'm, glad for the experience, because that's what we need to get called out of. I'm out of her first. We have to be there to get called out of there. I'm out of the harlot because she's without hope. She's plagued by the spiritual plagues in Revelation that Moses and now Messiah in heaven. This is different, but the same teaching. Plagues through Moses from the Father, not Moses, never from Moses or any man himself. Through Moses, the mediator, he plagues those that mess with his people. See, it's a teaching for us that's true. The apostle says first the natural, then the spiritual. These spiritual things are always true. His prophecy is always true. Every day, it's perfect. We just need to know about it and believe it and learn about it. Know the Father for real. To know the Creator is eternal life and Messiah, whom he sent. Moses was sent the same way Messiah was sent, but Messiah is greater. Something greater has come, he said to them. So the sin was increased because they didn't believe a greater thing. Because those nations that were judged long ago, they didn't believe in something. And he's saying they would have believed if, this is really teaching in the depth of the sin that they were in, something greater that's come, and not believing it. Different levels of the bottomless pit of sin. It's ugly. You got to get out of the pit. He digs a hole for the wicked to fall in the pit. We all fell in it. They could complain all they want, but everybody got sold under sin first. Then a few are bought back now. The rest are bought back a little bit later. He's got the money and the goods to do it. He's already doing it with a few. Those that know him, it's all the proof in the world that he can and will do this with all. He's already destroying some enemies, which is to destroy the wicked in us. Not man, the spirit of man himself doesn't destroy anything that's good, that comes from him with good intent. It's the carnal, wicked man, the flesh, which represents that carnality that needs to go. Not the person. There's a separation. Themselves. Like it's because of deception and the enemy. There is a way to love the enemy while hating the evil they do, which will make it look like we hate them. But there's a real way of doing this right. Yes, there is, because the Creator hates all who work iniquity. Yeah, he doesn't hate them like a serial killer hates someone. It's the opposite. He hates the wicked. He hates the evil because he's perfect and set apart. So therefore, they're under his wrath, which is to be in the devil's wrath constantly, not knowing him, People are in destruction because of the lack of the Father in them, not because the Father is evil. They need to agree and see and believe in all these judgments, I mean, to resist that and deny his judgments is like to deny him, period. And that's what the enemies do. They don't believe in his judgments. Right up to the day of destruction, they never believe it. Even naturally, they'll laugh, let alone spiritually. Always present, always ever present judgments. For every thought and intention of the heart we do, it's being judged. So our Father is actually pretty patient, pretty merciful, considering all the evil the heart does. That's something that stands out to me always. The wicked smile and laugh like we all did. I mean, they're in a serious destruction and it's no good, but he's not. The rain cloud goes on the righteous and the unrighteous without partiality, showing the character that even to enemies, there's mercy, patience, on them, but he can't judge evil as it's good and evil is good. He can't reward evil. This is who he is. He won't do it. So as long as someone's doing evil works, they're under a curse, they're under darkness, spiritual darkness. We agree with him, not him agreeing with us, like you might find in a song or something. What's some kind of funny abomination to me that they, without knowing, they just speak words. They don't know what they're doing. Serpent wisdom. God believes in us and we believe in God. No, he doesn't believe in you. We have to believe in him. It's a little backwards. What does that even mean? God believes in us. Backwards spiritually. Messed up. That's why there's destruction everywhere. At the very end, it's like Genesis. Chaos and void and lawless. No laws in the creation. The end is the beginning. The beginning is the end. And then he puts laws into all of the creation without partiality. Genesis says so. The creation is speaking this truth. Why would he only put laws in a few forever and not all? He already did it with his creation. He won't do it with his creation now? No. All kinds of things to be seen and understood that he can give us, that he needs to give us. That's not authority to the carnal man, even though they hear something that it's like bothering them. It sounds right. I mean, it's connected, because the natural man can perceive the literal creation, you know, and they can perceive that all of it without partiality has laws. They could see that, and you're connecting it to something spiritual they're not seeing. It bothers them because the natural is going against them. It confounds them. The natural, the creation itself, is speaking against them, so they'll get angry and forget. They won't keep it in the heart. That's what happens. They won't keep it to the heart. Why do I contradict and lie and break his word? You know, it's not going on. And any other thing, you know. So the natural picture, the creation, his literal creation and his creation, the people, needs laws. The only way they're blessed is when they do good, which is to be lawful, keeping the laws and commandments in the heart. Breaking it is lawlessness, which is chaos and void and darkness spiritually. He's going to do it because he already did. You know, that's not the only reason I believe that. It's because he's given this belief and then shown me something that I believe that. Just more of his word speaking and giving meaning to it to support what already was given. And when something's true, it's going to be all over his word. It won't contradict. Yes, he hates all who work iniquity. He has to. He does, because he's not evil. That's why. But they'll say it for the opposite reason, right? Use that verse to prove hell. What are you trying to say? That your God is evil? I guess so, you know. They never thought of it like that. I've seen it face to face. Never thought of it like that, I guess. Or if they did, it just instantly goes away. It's not good. Or are they using scriptures to try to prove that God is just like them, evil with their thoughts and their ways? Don't they believe what they read, that his thoughts is not man's thoughts, not man's ways? I mean, as great as the heavens are above the earth, which is way higher, but it's not even about numbers. It's just that it's way higher. So also his ways and his thoughts are way higher, and they're not our own carnal thoughts. So we have to become like in his image, and we can start seeing the difference between carnal and spiritual and receive from him. You know? Father doesn't think like a little child. There's the natural picture. It's already true naturally, right? The child does not think like the earthly father. Father is grown up, worldly wise. The child doesn't know, just playing around. Literally does not think like daddy thinks. You know, how much greater is that true for the creator and people? Way greater than that. It's just a little sliver. I think I got an order. We are short of drivers. What is this? Oh, no, that's not going to work. Okay. No orders. Yeah. So for us, the higher thing is not saying be blessed, have a nice day in our heart. But like you know, so what will happen is maybe he's telling you to do something and we pass by and we've already done it, and he shows you we've done it. Have a nice day, be blessed, be warm, be filled, and you don't give him any truth. You don't give him any word. This is not condemning anyone. Why can't people see the difference? It's about what he tells us, but I'm just sharing what he's given me for teaching and truth, which has nothing to do for someone else, when they do it, how they do it, how often. It has nothing to do with that. Just that we eventually are in agreement and start seeing the same thing. That's all. That it's higher than just the cheeseburger and clothes, although we wouldn't throw that in the trash, not throwing that in the trash, but it's a lot more important than that. Someone could be given food and they haven't been filled yet. Someone can be given clothes and they haven't been covered yet by the Creator, which is also to be comforted with the clothing, to be covered with the animal skins, the sacrifice, his covering, which is very real. So then someone could be in, you say you're rich and increase with goods, but you're miserable, wretched, poor, blind, and naked. What about the spiritual meaning of what we read in James? That's what was on my mind. So there's a way to break this with our heart. So, maybe give someone a sandwich or something and have a nice day, be filled. Well, I mean, it kind of, I've seen this, but it just hit me a little more today on the truth of this. A little deeper, see it a little clearer. Like, wait a second. Is that what it really means? And that's what we break. Because we're not putting the earthly thing above the heavenly. If we break the heavenly, forget what we're doing down here. That the heavenly thing's always the real thing. Messiah's in heaven. He's above. The heavenly thing's important. So we could break that. We broke that. Do better next time. Ask about it. Something like that. Because we don't know what we're doing. We need to find out. That's the narrow way, just finding out. So given we're not going to know things, and it's not sin until we know something about it, Not that it's not sin, but it's like, how could he judge for something we don't literally know? So he's a righteous judge, so it's not going to be the same exact judgment as if someone should know. That's what I'm trying to say. As if there's a difference, that's all. So him who knows and doesn't do what's right now, it's become, okay, now this judgment's increased a little bit because now you know. But that's whatever he tells someone to do, because the church world's doctrine requires to scream and shout at every person they see, or else they might burn in hell. See, it requires that. It should require that. And if they don't do it, they contradict themselves in their own teaching. Do evil. This has nothing to do with saying forget anybody, forget everyone. No, but the Father has people who will not believe, and he's not going to send us there to beg and like get on our knees, please believe or burn in fire. If he's already determined, he already knows. You just do what he says, that's all. The gospel is going to be preached to all the nations without the world even perceiving it ever happened. It's in whatever his meaning of that is when it's accomplished. Has nothing to do whether the whole world believes all at once. It's just that they did this work in the midst of darkness. Well, nobody listened or cared. Have they ever read about what the prophets do? No one believes them. They do it anyways. Maybe one here, one there. I'm not saying no one literally ever. The Father wakes up a few. But I mean, compared to so many that don't, it's like just about everyone laughs, mocks, and scoffs spiritually with their heart constantly. They don't believe in any judgment right now spiritually, or even like, well, this nation's not going to be destroyed ever. They don't even believe in the literal judgment. We're already in the middle of it. It's increasing, it's getting hotter. Famine, famine. Store up some beans. We read about it. There's a time and place for it all. And if we're in the middle of it, well, then it just might apply. Store up while it's plentiful, because bad time, 7 years, whatever it is, is coming. But going on what we read, but it's spiritual famine, though. That's the real thing. It doesn't mean that we're not living in reality here. I mean, We still need things, actual food to survive. So when it's done with the right heart, I don't see any evil for preparing like that, because he doesn't do anything unless he tells his servants, also called the prophets. Where do we read that somewhere? He doesn't do anything unless he tells his people. He doesn't leave them clueless. There's a warning always, things to come. So if it was 500 years ago and there's technology existed, it doesn't matter. Warning of things to come at any time, like even bad literal things. It's a little different now, though, if we could see the sign of the times. I mean, all the nations are like one and dark. All of them are doing lots of evil continually. It's a little different of a time now. The darkness is great, as great as it ever has been in the world. But nevertheless, there's going to be bad times before the end, just because we're understanding, like, the spiritual tribulation doesn't do away with the fact that this has always been how it's been, his judgment, that there is problems before a nation's judged, that its end, before its end, there was always tribulation for every nation that ever existed. I'm convinced. They won't teach us that at school. They won't talk about Jerusalem or anything, or how they were Egypt's neighbors. Give me a break. The devil just knows what to do all the time for evil. So the school teachers just know already how to do it. I'm not saying not a single person ever said, but I mean, who has heard it? And if someone did say something, it would be like out of like some kind of spite. It wouldn't be right in the system. But that's not the fix anyways, to talk. But still it's evil. They do keep it away on purpose. Truth, anything truth. Do it on purpose, without really understanding why they're doing it on purpose. It just already hates truth, the Father and his truth. But that's not the world's understanding. And, looking back sometime, I know that wasn't my understanding. Are you kidding me? Were you scoffing and laughing just like anyone else would? What are you talking about? I need to go for a ride or something, or I don't know, do this or do that in this world. What are you talking about? Judgment, stupid idiot. That's some serious blinding. We were all that first. That's how no one could rise above someone else. In the Creator's wisdom, he doesn't allow it. In heaven, in reality, in his throne. And the earth is just a footstool, a foundation to get to the above thing. That's how it should become for us. We need things in this world so that we can step on it to reach to the top of the house, heavens. That sounds like we just take everything someone loves in their heart in this world and then use it as a footstool. You bet that's how it's going to be. That's how it needs to be. You bet it's going to be offensive. Everything that's true is offensive. He gave me that. Instead, start using we use the things properly, start using them properly as actual need to step on, so that we're not consumed in this world, not seeking the kingdom. Because if we're consumed loving the world, how do you seek the kingdom? You're seeking this kingdom. So we need actual things. How much doesn't matter. Actual things someone needs. We actually need that. So you could step on it and seek the kingdom of heaven. Because if we're consumed constantly needing in a deception more and more in our heart, never satisfied, we'll be seeking forever until the end, worldly things and increasing in our status and our greatness in the world. Never any time to seek the kingdom of heaven in our heart. So he needs to give us the things like he promises he does for those that do seek the kingdom. Seek the Creator with all their heart. It says seek the kingdom first, and all these things you will just have what you need. He's never broken that promise for any actual believer, you know. So when we see evidence of total disbelief, you know, it's a warning sign, or at least could be a little plant, could be someone small, but it's a warning sign for sure. Watch out, you know, watch the next 2, 3 witnesses. That's not because of how few there are. It's usually not going to be a believer, but can't say for sure. It's a lack of faith that exists, that he'll do it somehow, some way. Who cares how? You know, the natural man's going to get nosy and say, nah, 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 nah. How you do this? Huh? Oh yeah, you just have this because of this now. How do you know the creator didn't set that up so we could step on the stool? And, you know, they act like they know why things happen. Maybe he wants to get us out of this world. It doesn't happen in one day. That's how he could show you he's doing this. Over time, he's increasing this, watching the miracle before your eyes for those that believe. Just things just start lining up together. Just work somehow, you know. But in order for that to actually happen, there has to be disbelief and doubt, or at least, yeah, some of that in the beginning. But not knowing definitely has to happen. Like, oh, I don't know, I don't know what's next. No clue, no plans, don't know. You just literally wait on him sitting on the chair. You know, I'm like trying to paint the picture. You know, it's been like that. What do I do? I don't know. I'm just gonna wait until you tell me. It took a few months one time, not too long ago. It took a few months. You know, so like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? When's it gonna happen? I don't know. But I don't want to do whatever I want to do. This is difficult, you know. But you just make it through somehow. It's a lot of testing and patience, you know. Gets you all the way until you're just about dry, you know. Now you're gonna have to start going on the street and begging if something doesn't happen first. Please don't let that happen. Please, please, please. You said you would do this. You said you would help me. A little bit of like desperation, cry out, you know. And then we find out in the scriptures that's how they talk. Why is that not surprising? That's how the saints speak. It's all over. It's in there. Psalms, Proverbs, everywhere. What was it going to be? Another way that we don't read somewhere? It's going to be like that. And then we might see that needs a little bit of perfecting too. A little bit more trust maybe next time, and less, you said you would do this. You know, I'm not saying I'm just saying that's what happens. That's all. Part of growing up, you know. Growing pains. Oh, that's an accident. It just happens to be a scientific fact from evolution. Growing pains. Shut up. Worship the creator now. Get on your knees spiritually with the heart. You know, that carnal, the darkness, man, speaks foolishness. Get your evolution out of here. That's deception. That's lying to people. How do you repent from that if you never think it's a sin or a lie? You don't. You're just in continual sin. It's for us to know that, you know, I mean, that's what's going on now. So there's a lot of deception and sin, heavy laden with sin. People take advantage of people that are heavy laden with sin. They already know how to do this. We read that's what people will do. Especially the fatherless and the widow. But yeah, that literally happens, sure. But what about spiritually? I wonder how much more it happens. I wonder how much more perfect that prophecy is. Those that don't have the Father, and maybe like a woman that doesn't have a husband, he's like a husband to them. People spiritually take advantage of them, and this is how they drag them into a cage and kill them. the harlot. That's the wrong way of doing everything. And then there's a right way where they think the false prophet gave them birth and saved them. It's all going to him in his name. That's what he wants. You come in your own name. Someone comes in their own name, he said, and people like flock after them. The Messiah is saying, I come in the Father's name, the creator of the heavens and earth, It's a big deal. I come in the Father's name. I don't know what I read exactly there, but basically they hate him. He's garbage. You're saying so with his own name is greater than the Father's name? But that's prideful. Nobody actually comes in the Father's name. That doesn't exist. So that's what they did, what they continue to do. Onan wants a name for it. He wants to have the birth to own it. Interesting. Own it. Own it. Own it. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. He wants to own it. He doesn't care about any birth or actual giving or true heart. He just wants to do something for pleasure. Never forget the pleasure part. Pleasure for self. And then own the thing and control it. And the way you own someone is, the intention is not to be born again from above. Then people are easily deceived and controlled. And this is how they take on people heavy laden with sin, easy to deceive and control. Someone that has the Father in him is not easily deceived and controlled because he's always showing, We'll get tricked for a little bit. He'll show it then watch out, better next time. See, but someone that doesn't have the Father, hasn't been born, there's no birth in the woman. Spill the seed over there. They're easily controlled. He did it. This is, when we see these works, this is death. Onan dies. He's dead. The Father was dead to the woman, representing our Creator, if you will. It's not perfect. It's the perfect picture. It's not pointing to the higher truth of the Father. It's in the Father. He does it. It's in his name. The husband that's dead, it's in his name. Well, that doesn't make sense. He's dead anyways. Yeah, dead to you. Maybe that's what it's saying. Dead to the one that's doing what Onan does. Father's dead to them. It's blasphemy to have something in someone's name that's dead and gone. I'm alive and living, and I'm a king. I'm Pharaoh. My name or the highway, This is not good. And I know it's very probably difficult even for every believer to really believe that this is actually happening everywhere, all the time. I mean, it's like too grand of a deception, right? It's not too hard for me to believe though now, after seeing too many works of the heart. It's not hard for me to believe now. He proves everything he shows us with the works. See the work, start seeing the spiritual reality of someone controlling them and doing it for that own reason, because the Father is perfect and his word is perfect. Better to believe in him and obey him than man. But this world will be offended and hate when you make a decision. They try to trap you and want you to do a sin, and you say better to obey the Creator and look bad in this world than to obey man. Ooh, they'll be furious. They'll be furious that you treated them as if they're nothing. They'll perceive it like that. Well, don't they read that they're supposed to love the Creator way above anything else, higher than anything else, so high that it makes it look like you hate everyone else? You would think this would be good, and it's actually hated by this world. A harlot will hate it if they see this in your heart and saying the words with meaning and belief and seeing the works. They'll hate it because they never had that reality, don't believe that exists, not doing that, and it'll expose them for not loving the Creator with everything. They don't have any answers there why we should hate mother, brother, father, sister, wife, relatives, and even your own soul. Why? Or you have nothing to do with Messiah, he said, with me. What is this hate? What is this hate? You know? It's so confused that it's never thought about this. One time I asked someone, what does this mean? And they started answering in an unbelievable way, just proving more and more, the blinding. He said, Christian, well, because sometimes, people will do evil. Your mother and father, they do evil and they deserve, they were literally teaching, and they don't have any other perception or sight. I'm like, what? You're saying you have to literally hate your parents and brother and sister and mother and father? Well, you're supposed to honor them at the same time, right? When you do that, like, what is this? Or that's what you're saying? No answer. Gets angry and stumbles, and because it can see for a split second how dumb, how evil that is, like contradicting and everything. Father blinds them and put plagues on them on the spot, man. A couple minutes later, it's like as if it never happened. Strange thing to behold. These plagues are real time, just like he was with his people in real time. It's for our admonition. While they live, Father speaks to Abraham while he lives. Not like while he's dead. He's not the Elohim of the dead, but the living. The Messiah used that scripture to prove that there is a resurrection to the Sadducees, a division that didn't believe in spirit, angels, or resurrection. They were atheists in the heart, and they were stumped. No one ever used scripture like that in Jerusalem with meaning and clarity and understanding and authority. He just said it plainly. The Creator's not the Elohim of the dead, but only, of the living. It's not going to be like that forever because he's not the Creator of the dead forever. That's death. But of the living. This has a spiritual meaning. He's not right now the Elohim of the dead to the people because they're apart from him, but only the living. But they didn't believe in an actual resurrection, though. Obviously, they had no understanding of any spiritual resurrection, waking up out of the sleep and dead. They just didn't. They took out the foundation. There's nothing higher. Don't steal. There is no don't steal with the heart. It automatically doesn't have that in the heart. It doesn't care about it. Nail Moses to the stake and automatically they care less about. Although there is a few, though, that need to get up to that point to learn and believe this, and they will. But for the many, what they do in the heart, it's whatever someone believes and is, that's what they are already. So then for those that it's nailed, that's their reality. They're lawless. Just like they say, there's no laws, no commandments. They're supposed to be learning. So then for them, they're lawless. They're not learning anything from the Father, the Messiah. Their Messiah must be someone else, a different spirit or something. Spirit of anti-Messiah, spirit of error. It doesn't teach anyone anything good, So it's important to have the right Moses. There was only one in the whole world, and if someone else was so-called Moses, but he wasn't actually Moses, only Moses hears the divine law on the mountain from above, representing above, but not really above yet to hear from the Father the laws and commandments, the righteous law. No one else was given to hear with his voice in the whole world. So to have another Messiah is to have no Messiah at all and no Father at all. They will only give lies in their own deceit, what the carnal mind thinks it knows. Because that's how it was in the natural. One Moses, he didn't speak to the Gentile nations. He never done that. He's never done that with a single person. Some of these things just, whoa, it's like an eye opener. He's never spoken to a Gentile ever, as if they're a believer. It's the two things again: the nations, Gentiles, sinners. He knows that he speaks to. Draw near. He doesn't give commandments and laws to someone that doesn't believe in him. What is that anyway? If they did hear from him, well, that love would hit them. If they did hear from him to see him, they would die, because no one can see him and live. And this death is actually good. This is the deadly wound to the beast, slaying the man of sin within everyone, the God of gods. And it's all I do all day long is, God's all over the road, man. They live like it. Amazing prophecy. This was sealed in Daniel from everyone, but it's unsealed. Leave it. Don't seal this book. For those in Messiah, it's not sealed. This is what they need to do. But it's still sealed, if you will, from those that don't believe. But it wasn't given to anyone yet. Daniel sealed. Revelation, don't seal this book. For those that believe, of course, it's being revealed. The revelation of Messiah and the unveiling. Messiah, who he is, and everything. That's true. It's not just some name, he revealed a name. It's not the meaning. Revealing things we didn't see or know. This needs to happen quickly in someone's life. As Revelation, the book of Revelation is like the spiritual war in life and everything that's going on. This prophecy is for his people. It's going to happen. Prepare, get ready. What you read, if indeed someone believes, is for them. And we don't know that. No one knew that first and perceived it before they believed, or after they believed, and they suddenly already knew that. No, they didn't. Babies don't know anything. What does a baby know when they're born? Nothing. Doesn't even know it's alive, really. It's not seeing it. A little bit later, they might perceive a little bit about this life, and then a little later, some more. Wait a second, I'm alive. And finally it realizes it's alive. It's a little bit funny. The Father's life in us, we don't even know in the beginning. We know something, that he's good, that like light just came and just boom, hit the darkness, and we know. That's why we know. I mean, even if someone's only believed in him for real for 30 days, they know he's not a monster already. They already know that, because they know. That's what it is to know. You just know who he is. I mean, not what we need to yet, but something. This torturous chamber of eternal destruction and torture for all eternity becomes monstrous to your spirit, because it's the Father's Spirit in us. It rejects it. It's foul. It's vile. throws up. You just know that's how it works. You just know how he works. But to Moses, though, he spoke with the voice, see, on the outward voice, outside, clothes, cutting off the flesh, circumcise the heart. What's that? I don't know. They were told to do that. The law requires it. We can't do that. That's why we have to die. He does all that work, die with him, because circumcising the heart requires this death, and to see him requires death. So Moses didn't truly know what ultimately, didn't know. He knew carnally, if you will, but not in spirit, carnal. But he's an old covenant saint. I don't know how this will all be, how that will be judged. Why can't people just say they don't know about things they don't know? It doesn't change that it's true, though, that Moses wasn't spiritual. Abraham wasn't spiritual. They were types of being spiritual. Old covenant saints. Old is the old man. It's no good. Ultimately, when the light comes, the shadow is no good anymore. But that's all it was before. Although the truth never changed, that's all that was revealed. A little bit of shining, a little bit of glory, not the real thing yet. Messiah compared to Moses shining, this is a whole lot of shining compared to Moses. But the earth shook, the voice shook, the thing shook. And if it shook and it was like that earthly, how much more than the Father who's speaking from heaven? How much more powerful is that? This time he'll shake the heavens, maybe, huh? At the end. Yes, spiritually understanding this. If it was important already, if it was already some kind of glory to it, the natural, how much more the actual reality of what it always pointed to and meant. None of this applies to the carnal church world. They don't, nothing. It's not perceiving. Every word means something. It means like nothing to the carnal man, for real. Nothing. It means some kind of delusion, but that's not real. Moses went up to speak, hear from him, and then he mediates, he gives, teaches the people, but we can't do that like literally. He's a type, an example of the mediator, teaching. Messiah's teaching our heart. That's why commanding with letters kills, because that never was the real thing. That's the old, it's the carnal, natural, but it doesn't mean murder's okay and stealing's okay. Someone might get confused. Like I was confused, didn't really see. No. Doesn't mean adultery's okay all of a sudden, It requires to break all of that in the heart first before you do those things. Everyone that stole something did it with their wicked heart first, see? So yeah, that's sin, If we don't agree with that, how will we have anything else? How can Messiah be in someone teaching them laws and commandments for their heart? If the law got nailed to the stake, this is like extraordinarily offensive. Not that the Father's offended out of some kind of insecurity, but to truth. It's a severe offense. It doesn't know what it does. If it did, it would be in shame and contempt, sweating bullets. You just nailed everything that's righteous. Well, that's what people want. They want to live a life of lawlessness and free from righteousness, thinking that's freedom. They're in a cage, unable to stop their sinning hearts. That's slavery to sin. Thought the new covenant, when I started seeing this more, Like, wait a second, the new covenant is, the laws and commandments exist. It says so plainly that a 5-year-old can understand that in the new covenant, I will put my laws in their heart. And that's how his people are his people. What laws, It's like, how do they answer for that they nailed to the stake? It's just joking, just pretending, they can't do that. What laws does he have to put in the heart if you nail the literal laws? There is nothing else. Some weird spiritual nonsense, just making things up. Ghosts. It's making up our own laws. That's what it is. Nail the law and all its letters, which have the higher heavenly meaning. You take away that, you take away everything. If you strip the foundation of a house, it falls. There is no house. Building a house, a wise master builder, start with the foundation, which no other can actually lay. Foundation's already laid, and then you build on it a house, a spiritual house, like one of the disciples we could read said, Peter somewhere, building a spiritual house, offering spiritual offering. What is all this spiritual nonsense to the carnal man? There's no reality to anything spiritual. It doesn't exist. The Father doesn't exist yet in their heart, in their mind. Darkened hearts. They like those words though. Be transformed into the mind of Messiah. Be transformed from the darkness of this world and into light, into the mind of Messiah. When they actually see this, and see the works of this in someone, they hate it. What are they saying then in there? Be transformed, be like Messiah. Walk after as he walked. Doesn't mean anything. It's scary. It's having a party in religion. Weep and howl, mourn. It's what's coming. Supposed to be going through it now. That's why, the wolves go around the sheep and say, you need to smile more. 10,000 wolves, 10,000 enemies, like Daniel, right? All of Messiah's enemies everywhere, just like Daniel, type of Messiah, king. Enemies everywhere, killing everywhere, like a bloodbath. Daniel's bloody. It's a lot of blood you spilled, Daniel. Don't you know that's actually evil? How come you're doing that? But only natural, natural. The wages of sin, death, cut up by the sword, literal famine, as the only understanding of a carnal man has. So Messiah fights with his sword, just like Daniel or David. I think I was saying the wrong David. Slaughtering a lot of enemies. Of course, this has nothing to do all along with murderous hatred in the heart towards them. But see how the literal natural thing, if we actually do that, it would be wrong. It would be evil. It's because it's only a type. It's a teaching. They themselves didn't understand. As examples of carnal people, always thinking they're wise and doing what's right and better than other people. They themselves didn't understand. Wasn't given yet. Nobody has what hasn't been given yet. So now Messiah fights with his sword, slaughters the enemies, destruction of the flesh, judgment. Move through. People are coming. Make way for the king. So they made way for him and then they murdered him. What is that? Because he wasn't a literal king right now. They didn't understand, did they? He's a king, but not a king of this world, the God of this world. To be a king in this world is to be a devil, it's to be an enemy. Friends of the world, enemies of the Creator. All of a sudden, we say these words to the church world. It's fuming. Why? They've said those words before and nobody fumes. Strange. Maybe it's because nobody in there actually believes it and that's what they perceive. So something like the natural is always true about the spiritual. When someone has a big mark on their forehead, they look at the person and they see a mark. Oh, he's marked like I am. Mark of the beast. They see something about being marked. When they see someone not marked, oh, it's all different now. Uh-oh, we didn't know that these even existed. The people will laugh at this. They think it's a joke. It's not a joke. It's perceiving, seeing something, you know. It knows enough to go, I know who you are. You're Messiah. You're that wicked. You're the son of Elohim, son of the Father. See, the devils know. So people know something. They will know when light passes by. Oh, you're one of those freaks. Never thought they even existed. They just already know how to hate. Sad, it's true though. Because there's an enemy, this is why all this is true. You know, if there wasn't an actual enemy who had some kind of power, this wouldn't even be possible. The things I see wouldn't make any sense ever at any point. But the magicians, why does the Father call them magicians? Because they're tricksters. There's no, it's a show. They're given a little bit of power so they can believe in it and believe a lie. A little bit of power through the power and delusion of Satan, the lying lies, lying wonders. They were able to do some plagues there, but they got swallowed up as if they're nothing. But there was some kind of power. That's a teaching. There's power. There is a power. And because there's a little bit of this power, people will use that to have confidence in their lie. He gives that as a delusion so that they do believe in a lie. That's how strong the judgment is. No one can say there's no power with the enemy because I read, and you know, it's not because of this, it's because of the teaching first, and then seeing the scripture teaches it by using it like that. Not just because of the letters, but nevertheless, the magicians had some kind of power. It's a real power they had. What did they say? This was fake? Okay, they don't believe the scriptures. All right. So why do they say they believe then? And if they do acknowledge that they have some kind of power, they're shooting themselves in the foot. See, if we don't say the magicians had some kind of literal power, a little bit of power, we'll deny the scriptures. And they'll say, why don't you believe? You say you believe in the scriptures, that it's his word. And if we do acknowledge that they have some kind of power according to his word, like we read, then he'll say, how come you don't believe what I'm saying spiritually, that the devil has power? See how they're trapped? That's what they did. It's what people do about all kinds of things, anything. One way and the other, no good. So they say, I don't know where this came from, John the Baptist, where this came from heaven or wherever. They said in their mind, thinking, if we answer like this, we're screwed. If we answer that way, well, we're screwed because they'll say, why don't we believe? So they say, I don't know. And Messiah says, I don't know either. You know, have a nice day. You did wickedness with your heart, so I don't know either. What you do, you got back for judgment. Nothing to do with Messiah actually doing those works. That's to be perceived, given. He didn't do what they did. But they'll say what he did is sin. And they just did that. This is about anything and everything. People do this. They'll say that what Messiah did is sin. You can't do that. You can't do what Messiah did. And they just did that. They just said, I don't know, out of a lie. And now they're saying Messiah can't do that out of a lie. They just shot themselves in the foot. Of course, Messiah is not actually lying. This takes a little bit of wisdom and understanding from the Father to see how someone could do that. It's because they, what's darkness have to say about what's actually right, what's a sin or not? It doesn't know anything in the heart. It's not perceiving things. It thinks its own way is right. It's going to say that's wrong. You can't. It sees no way that that could be right, and it does that itself. You it's amazing how many times this will happen. So That's how like all the scripture is used too. The people, they'll be trapped if they're in a lie. Ultimately, that they trap themselves. We don't have to do anything. It's already trapped. Just asking a question, and see, nobody asks the question in the harlot or says anything. But it's already trapped. It's just a matter of, hey, what about this? What about that? They've been trapped all along, in their own doctrine. To see, the Father has made it impossible for him, his truth and his word, to be literally trapped. It's not allowed. It doesn't happen. If that happens, it's like there's something wrong. There's a lie. There's no understanding. Father goes, oh, they got me. That means he doesn't know, and he has no clue what he's doing, and he's the Father. The children got him? No, never. They'll try, though. Won't they try? If someone has kids, they already should know that they're going to try to play games with them. They're going to try to trick and deceive them, show their magic tricks and think how good it is, and it's actually stupid. I remember doing that. Mom, look, magic. All I did was hide behind my hand behind the thing with some woody, and she can see the whole thing, right? I'm hiding behind this. See his head, and I pull it out, and like he disappears behind the cover. I remember thinking it was amazing. I remember that. It's a little hard to swallow when you actually see it wasn't so amazing after all. That's literally what happened. How come that matches so perfectly what I'm seeing spiritually he's giving? It's what it's like when someone's in deceit. They don't see how dumb it is yet. It's that bad. Look at my magic trick, and it's stupid. Mom could see right away he's just using his hand right in front of me. It's obvious. It's not amazing. But she says, oh, it's amazing, son. It's great. Not really ever telling the truth. Like, that's stupid, son. No, it's amazing, son. It's okay, though. It's fine. It wasn't amazing. These childish things, eventually they start slipping away, and you get sad maybe. Oh, no. Tried to play with these toys, and it's not like it used to be. It's not fun anymore like it used to be. Yeah, it's not fun doing evil anymore, especially after being punished for years for it. And especially if someone's already seen the Father and received good, actual good and blessing. They have something to contrast with. But you want darkness? Well, then do evil. But we're not interested in that. It's not like it used to be fun to be a pervert, to be sick, to do evil, to get back at someone, plan it all out. It's not fun anymore. In fact, I hate it. How come they can't see the natural picture that a kid needs to grow up from those little games it plays and thinks it's wise, but it's become a fool, like me. Like a little kid thinks it's wise. Look at this thing. It's great, amazing. And it's stupid. It's cute. It's cute. Cute to the Father. Oh, that's cute. Nice try. I mean, how much greater is that, like with him and people? Way greater. I mean, it must be embarrassing. It is embarrassing. I've seen divisions and things, and from reading in the past a lot. They were trying to believe as a doctrine that the Father doesn't actually know anything in advance or know anything. He's waiting as it goes out. See, because they'll try to use a scripture, and they're deceived. Like the Father says, "Where are you, Adam?" And they use that, wanting to believe a lie, not seeking him. So they believe a lie, whatever the division is, and literally start saying, I don't think he knows anything as a teaching. Not that they even believe him at all anyways, but we'll never know. We'll just believe whatever we want to believe if we don't seek the Father and ask for truth from him. We'll just believe whatever we want to believe. He'll give us a delusion. Oh, you want to believe that? Have a fun delusion. You don't do my way. Seek him, the only true way, with everything we got. We will believe in a delusion, period, because that's a punishment for not doing what's right. If he didn't do this, what would he be then, knowing all this now, seeing something about it now? He would be one with evil and accept it. What do they want him to do? Reward evil? So darkness contradicts itself. How come God doesn't do anything in, like, when bad things happen? And then when judgment, when some kind of thing happens, then they're angry when it happens too and hate it. And they're happy when it doesn't. They're angry when it doesn't happen. You can't satisfy someone that doesn't believe in him. They're hungry and thirsty daily. And they go the two ways, and they contradict, and I don't know. That's their answer. Spiritually, not necessarily like that, literally, I don't know, but nothing satisfies them. Screwed if you do, screwed if you don't. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. That's not fair. Can't they see that's ridiculous? They're saying there is no way. Exactly. They don't believe in any way. So their works prove it. The reality manifests. Damn this way, damn that way. It sounds like a prideful, delusional God saying, this can't be right. We're angry when that happens, and this also can't be right, the two ways. And we're angry and hate that too. And when that happens, what are they saying? They hate everything, I guess. Everything that's good. The heart's doing this. It's the same heart. From one to another, it's not a different heart. He didn't make a mistake. His word is not a mistake. Oops. Just made a mistake. It's wrong. The little children proved me wrong. No, only in a delusion. It's actually the opposite. When someone's prideful and thinking they're wise, it's them that become fools, not what they say. If they think they mock the Father and make him out to be a stupid. No, it's actually themselves. Should we say that it's not? Then I would be a liar if I said it's not. What do they want us to say, that it's the Father who's a liar and not man? Then I'd be a liar. Are we supposed to overcome lies or something, preacher man? No one knows how much lies they're doing until they actually receive from the Father for real on what it is and how much we do it, and all these things for real. We won't see how much we're lying. Every liar will have their part. It's a big one, lying, because that's like done all the time without him. It's like the thing probably done one of the most at the top, lying. Because everything's a lie, really, if we see it. One giant lie, a lie within lies, and then the thousands of lies within the lies, just lying all the time. So I've been getting something that seems significant, that I think, besides famine and like bad things, hard times coming with this wicked corona and everything, which means crown. They need to crown their Messiah, maybe, huh? Crown the one who saves them from all the chaos. Yeah, I wonder how much delusion we'll have to watch before the end, if indeed it's going to be the end soon. Wonder how much marveling and wondering after the beast this whole world will do, and not realize it does it at all, because it never did realize it all. That the devil is seeking and searching out his people. He's going to try to weed them out by doing things through the system, his cosmos, his world, the god of the system and world, the god of money, not the creator on money. That's the devil, the pyramid, the eye of Horus. The same thing with the Egyptians, the same with the Babylonians, the same symbols, the same heart, the same ways, the same God, devil. He's seeking to kill, steal, and destroy and search out the saints to kill them all, because now he can finally, through the system, do away where only worldly people that actually worship the God of this world with their heart, doesn't matter what they say, their works, and those that don't will not be able to do what the God of this world is setting up. Something like that. I don't know too much more on finer details, but it seems pretty strong, pretty right to me. Part of all this is that too, not forgetting that that's who the devil is, and he's always doing that and always wants to kill the Father's people. And if he manifests all things at the end, then what he has to manifest also, sad but true, hard but true, is that the harlot and the beast kill his people and manifest that because they always did spiritually, see? That they'll vote for it, they'll do it, they'll be happy to. They'll do whatever the beast is saying, They're talking about the mark of the beast while in a severe cloudy delusion that doesn't have anything to do with reality. It's already deceived, it's already marked, it's already over, and it's talking about a mark. It's not overcoming sin all its life, and it's talking about a chip. I remember not seeing anything on this right in the beginning, then a little bit more. Okay, yeah, it's spiritual. It's definitely not some carnal chip, but then not seeing, you just sees better and better and better. Overcoming sin and death. Messiah overcame sin and death. He overcame the world, which is the beastly kingdoms and God of this world system. It didn't have anything to do with a physical chip. That doesn't prove someone's heart. So what the enemy will do is prove the heart, is create some kind of way where saints, they can't lie. That's what they're needing to overcome. And only the world that lies all day long in their heart all the time will gladly and quickly lie casually without even realizing it to save their soul. That would separate some people, but maybe that's not enough. Then another filter comes in and another filter comes in until there is a few people that are distinguished as absolute terrorists that need to be eliminated because they're enemies of this world. And that's what they would say then. Because it's already always true, but I'm seeing this manifestation. The Father proves all things at the end. Proves all things, even to the carnal eye. Proves it. What does the harlot say? It doesn't matter what it says. Don't they know the enemy is only to kill, steal, and destroy the Father's people? Anything that's good, it's searching to do that constantly. That's why we need his protection every day. Wolves and enemies, 10,000s upon thousands around everywhere in this world, because this whole world is an enemy to the Creator, meaning an enemy to all his people. They need to pass right through, but we can't go against prophecy, unless the days were shortened, all the elect would be killed. None of the elect would survive. Someone going to say when those words have nothing to do with prophecy for the end, nothing at all? That's a lie. It's a trick. If the days weren't shortened, and it's a little strange to find out something else that lines up with it so perfectly, that the days were lengthened long ago. Why is that so perfect? And then the heavens declare it. Just like they're always declaring, whole creation is speaking spiritual truth. It's always speaking this. It just not to the blind, but it's speaking anyways. And it's speaking that the days were lengthened, like 5 days and some change for a year, because the sun stopped from moving and the moon stood still, and then there were hailstones connected to the sun stopping. Weird. I read hailstones in Revelation too. Yeah, the spiritually getting hit by hailstones, but at some point the prophecy is going to manifest. And when this final judgment comes, it's too late. Just like when the flood came. See, any signs for Noah, for his people to see, they could scream all out loud, but the world doesn't believe it. By the time they see a literal sign that they need to see, which doesn't mean they believe, though someone's raised from the dead, they still won't believe Messiah said. But by the time they do see something, the flood, a little too late for a final judgment on the earth. Too late. Then people will see what they need to see. Yet too late. Noah saw the Father's judgments. He saw it. He was there. That didn't just vanish, but he was protected while it happened. Well, that's the end of the judgment there, Noah's day. It will be like Noah's day. He's talking about the real end. Very few believers full of lawlessness in this world with their heart, wickedness. No one will believe save a few. Be screaming our heads off and don't matter. Many must not believe. I already know that. What? To expect the whole world to believe is a sin. It's going against prophecy and truth. Just those that the Father calls and drags in. Don't pray for anyone else to believe and to know him specifically like that. Different than doing good to the enemy, blessing those that curse you. Separate. That's separate. Showed me that's separate. It's a different drawer. The church world does that and breaks his actual way by saying it fell on everyone at the same time, and it's up to you. It's on you. And the carnal mind is condemning and pointing fingers and blaming. We don't do that. I don't condemn anyone. They're already condemned. What do you mean condemn someone? It's not up to them. They need his mercy. We'll talk about what the evil darkness does anyways, though. This is what people are doing. It doesn't change that fact. They will say they did these things, like all his people say they did these evil things. Doesn't change that. So then who would believe that he still judges the nations for sin? Not many. The world can't believe that. Sodom and Gomorrah is an example. Maybe that's the fire at the end. Unto all nations. What does that apply to? Like some distant, it's always been true. Nations disappeared in the last 2,000 years. That Sodom and Gomorrah picture, they didn't believe it, that those that vanished, that got destroyed. They didn't believe it. And anything that has to do with truth, this world would try to hide it. So how do we even know what really happened to these nations? What, were they alive when it happened? They'll just make whatever they need to up to continue a lie that the Father doesn't exist and his judgments don't exist. Just like they lied about the great flood judgment. They can't preach that as truth. Because that's the truth. The world can never give truth. The devil's a liar, and that's all he does. He can't give truth, actual truth, with the heart, truth. Looks like I got some kind of $9.13. Oh, that was a while back. My goodness. Acquiring some crazy stuff here. They want me to go to Corvallis. Like, what is that? A 20-something minute drive, and then it's like a 30-something minute drive to get home. You know, it's requiring more and more, wanting more and more, getting less and less worldly. Requiring more, getting less. That seems to be the path. Not supposed to be getting things from the world with the heart anyway. The world won't know when his people obey him, when there's a body, a people that are keeping his commandments. The world won't have a clue when that's done or close to being done. It doesn't know what good is. It condemns good. It doesn't believe good is good. It believes it's evil, like evil. Therefore, the world will never know when there's a people that are learning and growing and keeping his commandments. And when they do this as a whole, however many, the few, then that's when they are gathered back, because separation is like punishment from all the sin, you know. So if we do good, then no more separation. I think just the fact that any believer even exists for themselves is proof enough, you know, because if one exists, there's others. And there's only a few in the world, and it's just the few that need to do what's right. The world won't know. The world won't care. They won't hear the gospel, the good news of the kingdom. They wouldn't know. If they're still to hear it clear further, some kind of powerful way, I would question whether that person's a devil, because no one can love his people. Not even one. You can't say he's good, oh, good man. They hate the spirit of the Father, the carnal man. So what's someone going to do? Go on the intercom on, you know, broadcasting, preaching the kingdom of heaven to all nations. Listen, world. And then the world like listens and loves the person. Never happening. Not in this age. Train horn, confirmation. Father's the confirmation, not a train horn. They're not perceiving or understanding anything spiritual, that there is a vicious hatred and a disbelief for anything that's actually good. The world won't know it when the judgment hits them. The world won't believe that Messiah's people exist. They won't listen. They won't hear. In the meantime, they're spreading their wickedness, their leaven, to all the nations of the world. And it's a sign for us that she's spread all over the world and doing this all over the world. That's a sign for us that the loaf of bread that's leaven, yeast, has almost been lumped. It's a sign. The time is near. Maybe there weren't believers. Oh, horn is defective, barely touch it. Maybe there weren't believers for like 400 years or something until more recently. I don't know. We do read that the whole world was void of anyone. So that happened, therefore it happens again. Well, that's everything else he's showing me. Just the fact that there's a few that exist in a godless world where there's all his people are in slavery from sin, see, and he's getting them out for the final exodus, spiritual Israel. Everything this world has done has been devils. There is no Messiah's people in this world, even if there's a few, and there is now. They're trash. They don't matter. It's only devils looked up to, divided devils. Their systems, their ways, their beliefs, their never-ending rest for working 24/7, with their hearts. Therefore, they don't have any rest literally either, because the inside thing is the real thing. And if that's not resting, how can there be any rest? So just working, working, working for the devil and not receiving any good wages. The kings and leaders of this world, carnal and no good. Even the kings of Israel, to be a king in this world is to be carnal. Nobody was spiritual until Messiah. King David's an old covenant saint. Carnal saint, meaning there's never a good king in the world at any time right now ever was. And there's never anyone good anyways. No one is good, not even one. There is no good Republican leader, Democrat leader, king. They're all haters of the Creator and break his way continually in the heart. It's time they be exposed. We don't care. Come and kill us. Come and get me, devils. That's what's been going on. That's what they're doing. Forget it. It's already over. Why would I want to live longer and save my soul for this world anyways? All it does is bloodbath murder with its heart. In a world where his people are viciously hated continually. What is that? Please, I want to live long. It's going to start manifesting. You got something coming, devils, for seeking out to kill them and destroy them. That's why all of this is happening. Not because of some evolution, godless, evil, wicked world giving lies continually with their deceptive hearts, saying this is why this is happening. No, it's not. Satan is out to destroy, steal, and kill all the elect, desperately wicked to destroy. And the control has gone out of control. And once this control on a grand scale comes in and they taste the controlling people like that, it keeps growing. It's going to keep going. And they're going to control people with their 5G, and they're going to control people with their corona scams and viruses and troubles coming. They're going to keep going, and they're going to keep eating and drinking as if nothing even happened. That doesn't even faze them. It doesn't faze anyone. No, it can't be that truth is truth. Can't be truth is truth. It desperately can't believe anything that's true. So even if it's blind and just believing something so stupid and it's manifested to someone, it will believe the blind, stupid thing because truth cannot be truth. That's how much it hates it. Father's coming for all of them. Coming to kill Jonah. Coming to get everyone. Judgment's coming. It already was, it is, and it is to come also. The Almighty. A little bit of discernment, a little bit of dissecting, a little bit of truth. You find out people love this world and are holding on to it. And when people, so often, many out there saying that, oh, they don't want to live longer, there's a right way about that, where, you don't love this world. When religion says it and the harlot says it's lying. It's seeking out to make more money and become greater and greater of a king in this world than it was yesterday. It's not wanting to leave this world. That's a joke. It just goes, oh, let me say this. Oh, I'm covered. Now I can go and lie and cheat, steal, kill, and destroy. Oh, time to cover myself. Better lie again. Haven't lied in a while. Make sure my image is, fixed and perfect. Make sure my makeup, women looking fake all the time. Makeup, make sure my image is good. It's what everyone check in the mirror, desperately wicked, needing to be good, look good always. But who cares about the heart, what that looks like? My goodness, if there's one woman in this world that's a saint. I've said it before, it's like a giant pearl. It's huge because of how rare it is. I'm not condemning makeup. It's not about that. It's about the heart. And I believe that's why the apostle is, he's being careful because of what the world does. And he doesn't like looking like the world, doesn't even want people to think that he's of the world for the righteous reason doing that, not to look good, to cover self, to actually be good. Father's good. And not even want to look like you're doing evil while being good. The Father's righteous, good works first. And then not even wanting people to think that you're doing something evil. Don't even let them think that so they can be condemned and confounded by the Father. Utterly embarrassed and put to shame. It's just that the world does that with jewelry. They got the word Jew in there, right? It's no coincidence. Jewelry. Can't even say the word right now. All the fancy stuff and earrings and it's not about that. It's just that the whole world is doing that the wrong way. It's not representing the, like the bride, bride and bridegroom being pretty inside the heart, being ready in the heart. And so then there is a right way of looking like that, but it's just done so often everywhere by the world with lust and pride that it's like, I don't know that I want you to look like that, just to look like, want to be set apart. Yeah, he's not telling anyone what to do. He's just giving whatever. That's maybe why he says I and not Yahuwah says. He's saying, there's no actual command from heaven, from the Father, but just me. Just me, just saying, what I'm seeing, benefit here, benefit there. No actual command. It's not about braided hair. It's just that every time you see a woman with braided hair, it's not about the hair, even those that don't do that with their hair, just as wicked and dark. But it's like every time in this world you see that, it's like something extra dark about it. Not the hair, just those that do that because they have to pervert anything that's good and like try to masquerade, and then it's perverting what's good, not actually, but in a deception in the heart. It's like tattoos is just, they're more than okay to be filthy inside the spiritual body, marked up, filthy, mark of the beast. So then it just manifests. It's not about the tattoo. But I would say that someone that has this knowledge and knows the Father, they shouldn't get one after knowing, because it's because of seeing the higher thing. It requires a dirty heart. And that's why it's dirty. It's no good. It's what the nations do anyways. But it's way deeper than that. It's not tattooing self doesn't make us righteous. It doesn't do anything. But someone that cares about every word and doing what's right in the heart, there will be some kind of care and love to do what's right and not tattoo, for example. If you want to call that a lower thing, so let it be that. Doesn't mean it's not important still. Why is that increasing in this world? Because it's like the sin is increasing. It's just manifesting, this world has to be the perfect opposite at the end from whatever righteous is. If tattoo, well, then everyone tattoo. If pork, unclean food, and everyone's eating unclean food. Even literally, it's like manifesting. always been about the heart. Those that eat the unclean thing are going to be consumed together, already consumed, to be consumed, literally, spiritually, already spiritually. And as a judgment, literally consumed. Would someone say the Father sinned when he burned Sodom and Gomorrah? Destruction of the flesh, the destruction of sin and wickedness because of his set apartness cannot stand. He's determined it that if the sin is that long for the boom, destroyed. He already did that. But if he were to do it in 2021, he would be a wicked sinner, right? When it comes to actual reality, all of a sudden, the harlots run away, contradicting and lying. Talk about the United States being burned up for all its wickedness. All of a sudden, that harlot preacher that talks about, oh, this world throws in some sins to cover itself and never actually believed or saw anything, just to hold on the cover, to look good. Because you got to say something about the world that it's doing wrong, to look like it's right. When someone comes up to them and tells them what this world really is and what's going to happen, oh, it's wicked all of a sudden. How dare you condemn my world? I love this world secretly, always did. How dare you actually? Thought you were one of us. Shh. What are you doing? Exposing us. It was just a trick all along. I love deceiving people and doing wickedness in the heart. You exposing evil is evil. Like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. That's all you see on YouTube. It's sick. What do I read? Oh, the wicked are many. The enemies are many. Away from me, evildoers. Yes, away. Be set apart. Away. Go away. All those that are bent on doing evil and deceiving people, trying to kill Messiah's people. Unsubscribe, please, if you're an enemy. Go away. Although it has nothing to do with that. That's just a way of manifesting and increasing the sin because it's done with an evil heart, prideful, selfish heart. That's what the world's doing. All about self. All about them gaining and using people. In order to gain, you need to use people. That's what everyone's doing. You're supposed to be selfless, sacrifice, freely giving, which has nothing to do with using people in a deception for self-gain. In fact, don't want any of that. We know that if someone is raised up in this world and loved by this world, it's an enemy. So away, go away, evildoers. We wouldn't want to see that. That would scare us. Let alone the whole world believing the gospel. The world hates his people. They'll never believe it. Not never, literally, but never in this age. They won't know when the gospel is preached to all the nations. They wouldn't have a clue who they even were. Just some wicked doer, that's all. And someone who doesn't believe that that's a believer, just a wicked doer in their mind, how would they know that wasn't a believer to them? They're hidden in Messiah. Hidden in the body, hidden. Literally, but spiritually, literally hidden. Can't see. The world cannot see the Father's people, can't see him. To see him requires death. They're holding on to the beast. They're alive. Their soul is alive. The carnal Adam is alive. Adam, saving his soul alive. They're being destroyed as enemies. Those who are alive cannot see Messiah's people because Messiah's people are dead, buried and hidden in Messiah. In order to see the Father, they have to die. That Adam has to die and be reckoned as dead and start dying. This world is not dead, therefore it sees nothing. Yeah, it sounds contradicting to the carnal man on the surface. It's the truth. So I can't imagine the whole entire world hearing actual truth. It would come from murder instantly, literally. I've seen all the murder in the heart continually, just about daily now. Murder is increasing. The wickedness I'm perceiving is increasing. I see how much they hate the Creator, the Father. It's all evil, man. It's all marked devils in this world. They're all marked. No one can love his people. I've never seen it. It's all I've seen is the opposite. Murderous hatred towards the Father's light. And anything that's good, any good works that are his works, is murdered continually, daily. They hate it with a vengeance and a vicious hatred that I can't even describe. Well, his whole word describes it on a whole, to be seen spiritually. It wants to crush the bones and burn people on a stake. It badly wants it. It's that murderous hatred, that bad, for being exposed as devils, as wicked, for being exposed as liars. Nothing makes a monster more angry than being exposed for what it is in the daylight. That it's been a deceiving liar all this time. Hating people, lying to them, murdering them. Fake love, never had any real love. Just a murderous heart and monster is what the heart is. Deceitful above all things. Desperately wicked. They need to die. It's monstrous. It needs to die. There is no saving it. He who saves a soul shall be destroying it. Whoever runs from the Creator, he will catch them. Has already caught them in their own deceit. But it will be realized in reality in the great judgment. They'll be caught and destroyed like Jonah. That old man's going to die. It's going. It's coming for everyone. And the devil's coming for life. The devil's doing the opposite. Seeking those in Messiah for actual life in this world. Need to get rid of them. Filter them out. The murderous hatred coming for them. This world will give other reasons to why things are going on. Well, he's shown me too much about this. They're lying. The devil's coming for Messiah's people. That's what's going to happen. He's coming like Herod as a type. The anti-Messiah is going to overcome the saints. They need to be killed just like those in the past were. They need to be killed just as the rest are. Like we read in Revelation. Revelation is always true of things that were, of things that are, and things that are to come. It's always spiritually true, and it's things to come. The anti-Messiah God-man that the whole world will marvel and wonder after. They won't be able to help it. They already do. I fully believe it's going to be a requirement to worship the devil openly. Just say it. You worship God. What God? The God of this world, yes. Always was true. Someone can say, I hear from the Father, and they can say that Father and God. This is how deceiving it is. And it's actually the devil, their Father and God, like Messiah said. Like Yahushua said, not Jesus, the anti-Messiah, the God-man. prideful God in its own mind. How could Messiah be the example for all those after him if he was God, prideful God, man? How could he be the example if he's the creator and nobody else after him is the creator? Oh, but the anti-Messiah spirit, he's God, the creator. And so in a delusion, all those after him are God in their own mind, creators, making up their own way. In their own eyes, they see as right in their own eyes, creating their own way. But the end of it is death. It will lead to death because everyone needs to die. And the Father has shown that everyone needs to die by making everything literally need to die. Like here it is. Here's a picture and showing it. We're speaking of something spiritual that needs to die, the old man. Well, he's showing it that all people have to die. Dying you shall die, Adam. Well, yeah, that's still true. So we have to die for our sins. We have to die to live. So then the resurrection body. Don't you know that a seed, the apostles talking like with plants, that it's not what it needs to be until that dies, and that's when it sprouts and becomes what it needs to be. So the body is like that. Seed, it dies, goes away, so the real greater thing can come out of it. Something no one's experienced here on earth or knows about, can speak about because no one has it. And nobody knows what they don't literally have. We can know whatever the Father gives us, but no more. What's the world teach? Well, I better end it here, I guess. Just go on forever and ever about all the wicked lies and wicked works. I'm seeing it every day, everywhere. Sweating from how many enemies there are. But so it is. The carnal don't need the Father's protection. They're God. So he has it. Let them be in their delusion. Totally deceived. It'll be realized and shown to all. That's as sure as the creation existing right now that he created. That's how sure it is. They will be exposed for every thought and deed and intention of the heart, utterly, without a single drop missed. Oh, there's a drop in the ocean still? Father will show it, expose it. They will know. He's exposing his people's hearts right now, the process of exposing that they're a beast and now destroying it, agreeing with him. Okay, this needs to die now more. A beast need to die. It roared like a lion in the heart. Okay, yes, repent. This needs to die. And so it's painful. If it's painful and they're scarcely saved, the elect, how much more? Where will the wicked appear? Oh, they'll appear in judgment. There's some more evil this world has to do. It's got to get worse than it is, even on the outside. It has to be utterly corrupt and lawless at the end, because that is the beginning. The beginning is the end. Finally, the end. It's actually good in that it's the beginning. Those tormented day and night by the presence of the Lamb do not meditate on the Father and his ways and things. That would be torment. It cannot do that. It can't do it. He or she can't. Whoever is carnal, forget the cover and religion and all that. Whoever is carnal cannot meditate on the law day and night and on the Creator and his things day and night. Can't do it. It's torment. No one does on purpose what torments them. They run from it, cover it, do anything except meditate on the thing that torments them all day long. The reason this world is doing what it's doing and all its evil works and how it behaves and reacts to light is because it's in torment. The wicked laugh. They're scornful. Why do the nations rage? They always rage, and they'll rage again. Yes, they rage. They don't want their kingdoms taken from them. I can't wait. Yes, Messiah, come and take the reign of this beastly world, beastly kingdoms, wicked kingdoms and peoples. Take over, please. He is the King of Kings, after all. A king has work to do. It'll be as if these kings didn't even exist. That's how weak they are. It'll be revealed how weak they are. Who will stand on that day? They already fall spiritually. Father's coming. He's coming through the Messiah to take over the reign of the beastly kingdoms and destroy it, to make way for the real kingdom, the kingdom of heaven, to finally bring peace on earth, goodwill towards all men, people. Something the beastly kingdoms could never do, not in 10,000 years, not in 10 million years. Selfishness does not do good, nor can it bring peace. Pride can't do that. Hypocrisy can't do that. You need a king that's perfect and glorified. He's a king, but he'll never reign, says the wicked. You know, those that didn't know, that will know, they're the exception. But everyone else, they say it because they're wicked. They say it because they hate the true Messiah and love their life and love their delusion and love destruction and love evil and love money and love the things in the world and everything of it. They can't wait to wake up in the morning so that they can make more and gain more and deceive more. That's what keeps them going. Just like a lion tearing at flesh and eating, that's what keeps it alive. Evil. That's what the devil is. Seeking someone to devour, but especially the saints, whoever they are. Those are the lights in the world. The devil's seeking to devour that. Maybe it seems cruel that the Father would allow so much evil. There's an understanding that needs to be given, and it's not a simple one-liner. It's deeper. Why he's doing all this. He's using all the sin we've done for good by giving us an evil experience. It's like the exposing is happening now already. The judgment's already happening now. It's appointed for man once to die, then the judgment. Wicked people will take this and create some kind of carnal doctrine, some kind of religious system, and say the body is some system, some delusional thing. And that wants to die here has nothing to do with people but a system. It's not what the Father told me. These people are liars. They don't want to die, so the devil can't teach truth. No, they don't die. Some system dies. Some thing they created that dies, and their immortal soul does this and it does that. Prideful beasts. It's appointed once for Don Preston to die and whatever damage and wickedness he does along with anyone else doing that. And all his sheep, it's appointed for them once to die, then the judgment. Talking about people. That's some religious system they created to try to escape truth. They won't escape so great a judgment. Haven't they read that they're trapped in everlasting chains? A picture, a metaphor, that no one escapes his judgment. They're reserved in chains, it's sure. There's no escaping the judgment. It's not speaking about dead people being alive. If they heard from the Father, they would know. But it's teaching that no one escapes. They might as well be in a prison with everlasting chains until the judgment, until that day. That's how sure his judgment is. Those of old, those before, those now, those in the come, those in the future that do evil. Everlasting change until that judgment. No one will escape this judgment. That's the teaching. Neither will Don Preston or any other wicked, or any harlot or denomination that teaches division and lies, that can't stand denying themselves. Prideful monsters. They put all the evil on his people, that they're the monsters, that the Father's good works are monstrous. They don't hate evil. They don't hate darkness. And they're not learning to, because they love it. Don't tell anyone. Shh. Put the finger up to the mouth. We're devils. All of us. Whole world. Gonna hurt the world's feelings, all right. If the whole world truly is enemies, then anyone giving truth is hated by the whole world, not loved. Because if it is truth, they will be hated by all who hate the Father, of which there's many, of which there's billions. Many called, few chosen. Noah's day, worse at the end. 8 souls believe as types, not spiritual, but as types, as saints, as Old Covenant saints, as the righteous saints. Not their own righteousness. Scriptures never teach such thing that man has. Man has no righteousness. That's all he ever teaches. There is no righteousness in man. If there was good in it, he wouldn't destroy it. But the old man needs to die. There's no righteousness in him. Zero. It's never done a good work in its life. From the heart, the only thing that really matters in the heavenly places, high places, spiritual wickedness in high places. The devil, a coward, darkness, if the whole world was against it, it would do what it takes to be loved by the world. It would lie, it would deceit, it would be a coward. But it acts as if it's not. It acts as if light is coward. It would never do what the whole world hates. It would never want to do the works, nor would it want to believe or teach actual truth if the whole world hated it, because they need to be loved by as many as possible and loved by men, loved by the world in its own little division, better than the other divisions. It will be just fine to go along with this one world order. Yes, all of religion will be just fine. They will go right along with it. They already are. How can't they see it, that they're part of it? The devil's trapped them all in these different cages and denominations. They're already agreeing with it. They'll do whatever it takes. I'm convinced, most of the Christians already they'll do whatever the next steps are. They're already taking the vaccines. They're just obeying anything to save their soul. A little bit of pressure, it'll instantly do what it always did. Evil. The Father's not their protector. So they're going to need worldly things and sorcery. Father doesn't have any power. He's not able to protect someone from some measly, worthless vaccine, some virus that they created. No, he can't do that. His people get sick. They have to watch out or else they might die. And the father goes, oh no, my people died. If only they were a little bit more careful and wore a mask. Straight to hell with the world that doesn't believe. With the evil, that is. Evil teachings, evil unbelief. Too bad, too. Who cares that the whole world doesn't believe in his power? It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. His power exists. The whole entire creation was created because of what he said. Be created, and it is. It's power. Some serious, unimaginable power. He can't protect his people from some virus, you know? I'm tired of hearing the blasphemy in this world, but looks like that's all it's ever going to be until the end. The last great day, you know. The last great day happened 1900 years ago, says the wicked. Go away. Stop teaching lies and destroying the sheep. Anyone that lies to someone murders them also and rapes them and uses them like a whore and a harlot. That's what lying and stealing and robbing temples really is. They're destroying people by lying to them. Yes, even if all the sheep say, he's good, we love him, it doesn't matter. That's what they're actually doing to them in lies and do evil works because they're destroyed. They don't know the Father. They're fatherless widows without a husband. No one cares. No one cares about anything. It's a mad world. It's sick. It's smoking. You don't know who the Father is. Powerful, perfect, good, righteous judge, light. Not a speck of darkness in him. Not a speck of light in the devil. That's the truth. Not a speck of light in a carnal man that has a devil as a father. There's no darkness in the Father, and to not have the Father is not to have his light, which is to be darkness, and there's not a speck of light in darkness. They haven't done a good deed once in their whole life, apart from the Father, because it's been with an evil, prideful, crooked, delusional intention. Genesis, all the carnal wicked in the congregation of the harlot houses don't believe this as long as they're going there forever. As long as they're in the divided denominations of which his people are they're called by him to come out of her, my people. It's a command. They obey. Because no one doesn't obey him, you know. It's a command for everyone everywhere to repent. It's going to happen. He didn't say it would happen in one day. Find me the scriptures, harlot. You know, unbelievable what they do. It's going to happen. Their God has no power, so they have to match their doctrine with their God. Can't actually do anything. A golden calf does not command things and then it becomes. Therefore, their doctrine matches, their heart matches their golden calf, powerless God. Of course, someone that helps themselves, God has also helped them, then he'll help them. Don't they realize they don't need any help if they actually help themselves? Of course, they don't and are not able to help. They're in destruction. It's just a delusion and a false teaching that lines up with the golden calf God. All the miracles in his word, protecting them from enemies, from crazy things, all kinds of things. The carnal don't believe in any power. From those that don't believe in his power, from such turn away because they're enemies. That's exposed. Everything else about them is carnal and an enemy of the Creator. There's no such thing as someone who denies all his power but believes in the Creator. No such thing. Doesn't actually exist anywhere. It never happened. The harlot won't know about his coming. It won't know about anything. The last great day, the wedding, The beastly kingdom's being taken over. It just goes into some eternity with its everlasting soul that it doesn't even believe that. It just says that for doctrine because it's a lie. They don't have any hope. That's what they're trying to hide in torment. They don't believe anything happens after death, and they don't want to think about it. Proof that they're in torment. They can't think about it. They don't think about it. They don't believe anything. They're just pretending and acting, using doctrine and religion as a cover. You tell someone, anyone, about anything to do with death and then what happens, and you speak with a real heart from above, from the Father, with truth, and they will melt like wax. They will fear. They will cower up. They don't want to hear any truth. They're tormented by it day and night, just like his perfect word says. All those that have the mark of the beast already, that always did, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, this thing that Messiah overcame because of the Father's works, not his own. It was true, it is true, and it is to come. Anyone that has this mark, spiritual, marked like Cain, the devils will be careful not to kill him. See, there's a little bit of like, oh, that's another devil. It's okay. It's okay. See, what's going on there with Cain being marked is he's worried that others will come and get him now for what he did. But he's marked. And anyone that actually kills him, it's an even stronger judgment on them for killing someone because he killed them. So this mark shows the people that he's a devil and killed someone. Don't kill him. Don't mess with him. But if you do, he's not saying it never happens. If you do, oh, the Father's coming for you with a stronger judgment than that guy that killed someone. Yeah, but this is murder in the heart. That happens first. This is those that are marked. What I'm saying is people will perceive and see something that someone's marked, just like someone could see a physical mark and say, oh, that's a murderer. That's a devil just like me. Leave him alone. Don't kill him. It doesn't mean it never happens. Of course, people, the divisions, stupid horn, man. It's like barely touch it and it gets stuck too. It doesn't mean that darkness doesn't kill each other. That's why it goes crazy. Has anyone ever wondered why wars start? Because when one guy kills and another guy, sees the mark, it doesn't matter. If he kills, that judgment's even stronger on that guy. And someone that kills the guy that killed the guy that killed the guy, it's even stronger until there's a world war, until there's a bunch of killing and chaos. That's the Father's judgment and wrath. The devil puts a devil in them. Puts voidness to the extreme and darkness, hands them over to their sin. That's why crazy things like this happen. It's not to say this never happens. It's just to say that something about a marked person knows that it's another marked person. And darkness knows something about light. It's perceiving light. It just doesn't know what it is. It knows it's something other than darkness. Like, what's that? What's that? Is that you, Father? See, so it's going to persecute the light when it sees it, and it's going to see it's not marked like the others. So it's an okay to go and murder it. It's amazing revelation, only lining up with everything else he's shown me. Darkness will always come after light and want to murder it because it's not marked, but it's because it actually hates light, but it's just the teaching of the mark, though. The Father marks someone that kills someone. The devil sort of leave him alone. And if they don't, it's an even stronger judgment. But there is no mark on those that know and have the Father. If there was, it's removed. His people don't have the mark of the beast currently. not marked like Cain. Instead, on their forehead, a new name, different kind of mark. They're his people. It's like I write on them, they're my people. And the devil sees that this is not marked. It's got the go ahead to go and kill instantly. Unlike seeing another devil, oh, that's a killer. Leave him alone, because the judgment's real severe if you kill a killer. But there's no mark on his people. The devil knows something about it, so he comes instantly after him, and it's seeing light. It's, it never sees light, so it doesn't know what it is. It's making him angry, exposing darkness. It's exposing their works, that their deeds are evil, that their actual works in the heart are wicked. Continually, all it ever was. It wants to kill, and that's actually what the Father has set out to be, that they constantly kill the sheep, and yet the miracle is the sheep live. They got the go ahead and try, kill them. The wolf sees a sheep, it's hungry, all the pictures match. Sees a sheep, it's like, oh, that's not a wolf. A wolf sees another wolf, it's like, okay, it's a wolf. They might fight and kill each other. That's not, a lion attacks another, but it's like, oh, it's a lion. Leave him alone. He's like a killer. If you fight him and kill him, it's going to be a severe judgment. And you might get killed by him because he's a killer. Yeah, it's just sort of leave him alone overall most of the time. See? But when the lion sees a sheep and a wolf sees a sheep, it's got the go ahead. That sheep can't do anything. So it runs after it and it murders it like a coward. Because the lion knows the sheep just can't do anything. See? Tears at the sheep, and somehow the sheep walks away alive. And the lion doesn't eat it. It's a miracle. It shouldn't happen. It's happening all the time. That's all it ever. The Apostle Paul has an example of someone in Messiah. As Messiah lived that life first. But, speaking, we have words written down simple. Dying daily. Dying all day long. Torn up, tearing at the sheep. Still living, still. But eventually there is some kind of end the way the Father has it to be. So it's not going to be what we want. Messiah said to his disciple, towards your end, you're going to go where you don't want to go. And this saying things are going to happen that you don't want at the end. You're not going to desire to want it. You're going to have to go through it anyways. But up until that point, he's more than capable of protecting his people until that determined end. Up until that end, the apostle escapes prison. He escapes death. He escapes this. He escapes that until the determined end. I'm not talking about some end for anyone. He's more than capable of protecting someone from getting sick and dying in a few days from some disease. He created the heavens and earth. What's that? He promises protection. But I'm not saying what he will do with someone at the end. He promises tribulation too, but to protect you through it. Because you kind of need to be alive to go through a tribulation. Alive in Messiah to go through a tribulation. And someone's end, though, I don't know. I couldn't say. I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to not be nosy about that. What Messiah is doing. What the master is doing to someone's servant. That's up to the master, not to the other servant. You come follow me, he said. You worry about following me. Not worrying about someone else's servant. Messiah's servant. That's what devils do. Needed correction. That's what they do all day long. Nosy. They don't ask because they care. Ever. Ever. Maybe at first you have a suspicion, and then the Father shows you more, and then he shows you the works and proof that that's utterly true, People don't ask anything about, especially to light. It doesn't care. It hates light. It doesn't ask because it cares. It's got a stone for a heart. But out of these stones here, he's able to make sons, children of the Creator. See these stones here? He's able to make these stones and turn them in. We read that. I've seen this taught as literal stones in the earth, proving the Creator is truth, because the stones cry out. The stones cry out to prove something, that the Father exists, as if that's proof. It's not proof to anyone. Those that don't have the Father have no hope or proof. They have religion and lies and deceit and a lot of evil works to do. The stones crying out are the stones that he changes, the stony hearts, into flesh hearts, moldable into his people. See that stone, that dead thing, cold hard? He's able to make it alive. Stones cry out. I'm not saying there's not more meaning to it. I mean, my goodness, but it's not talking about some carnal proof. That's not the main, it's not the teaching. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't evidence like that, but that's not proof to anybody, because no one could believe unless they have his spirit. It's not actual proof. You know, the whole creation is not proof enough to someone that doesn't know him. They're dead. It's all they know. They were born into this world. It's not proof. They'll believe some lie, whether it's religious lies, you know, golden calf gods, whether it's evolution, whether it's this or that. It doesn't matter. It can't believe. And even if it keeps all the laws, literally, of which that's the foundation, murdering Messiah's people, the apostle, keeping the law, zealous for it, and perfect concerning the law, just in case carnal people try to teach lies, which they will and do and only can. Don't they know that it's perfect to be zealous for the law and keep it perfectly, and not have Messiah in them and the Father in them, that they can't do anything with their heart that's right, and that they're still blind without him? So the zealous apostle keeping the law carnally says, is that you? Is that you? When he's blinded by his light. Is that you? He didn't know him, didn't believe he even existed. If he did, how could he have a murderous heart to murder his people? How could he murder Messiah's people while believing in Messiah? You know, it's nonsense. He didn't believe in him at all. Didn't even believe he existed in his heart secretly. And the fool says in his heart, secret thoughts in the heart, the actual works in the heart, inside. There is no Creator. It's got all kinds of reason and intentions to look good and find a cover and run and hide from the torment, though. That's why it goes to religion. To try to look good and believe a delusion that it's good in this world, while to cover all the evil they do and justify it. You know, it finds its own little cover, runs to the trees. I can't believe that this is all true. Sometimes it just blows my mind that everyone hates the Creator and is wicked. This makes me marvel and wonder that after this, that this is even true. What's the harlot say that Daniel gets sick for, that John marvels, getting pale-faced and wondering, wow, no, this can't be. And that's why. Because the harlot exists, that's why they're marveling. How does the harlot have that truth? What does it say? It can't. It can't be the real thing. Can't perceive it. It's living the lie. Right away, they try to prove they're good by physical, how much money they give. Yeah, that's what the world does. Sounding the trumpet because they're in torment. They have to show how good they are because they're evil. They have to do evil. When they don't know the Father, this is what they have to do. This is what they will do. It's what everyone did. Speaks highly of self. I'm good. I'm good. I'm great. I'm God. I'm better than other people. I'm smarter. I'm wiser. I'm stronger. Foolish. There is no wisdom in the carnal man. What's smarter, wiser, better, nicer, more giving? If no one is freely giving, then the giving they're doing is worthless, trash. And all bad works that are trash, the wood, hay, the stubble, consumed by the all-consuming fire, the Creator himself. I think I'm going to end it here. People already automatically can assume in their heart and mind why someone does what they do. They're just like anyone else, like them. They haven't perceived the real way yet, real light yet, so they can only think evilly of themselves and put it on others. Put darkness on light. You find out all along, under the cover, nobody wants truth. They're running from it. Nobody wants it for real. They're running from him. That's why they believe in the cover. They believe evidence of judgment and punishment of the Creator sending them a strong delusion so that they believe a lie handcrafted by the Creator to the sin. That's why they believe the delusion that they believe. They didn't even choose it themselves. He chooses their delusions. All of a sudden, we start talking about this for real, with real meaning. And even people out there talking about free will, they don't even believe their own words or understand it. They just use that doctrine to be a better divided division, evidence of the judgment and handcrafted delusion that the Father gave and chose their delusion for choosing abomination. He chooses their delusions. Just evidence again and again and again and again. Someone could say those words, though, and not have a clue what it means. Scary thing is I've seen it. Watch out for someone that might be saying the word love, loves truth. Try to do away with the Father. Very sneaky. They hate the Father, hate the Creator secretly, but they make themselves wise with knowledge. Loves truth, sends a strong delusion, a gift of delusion. They might be talking about themselves. It might be carnal, crept in unnoticed. Judas. Where you really think someone is with you, and they care about you, and they didn't. They murdered, and we saw the works. Murdered, kill, steal, destroy, with the heart, with its intention. Judas's end is destruction, though. It's a sad thing. But look how Messiah said to him, the one who dips the bread. He told Judas in his face, knowing who he is, but the disciples didn't see yet. They were later, a little bit later, after they were tricked, crept in unnoticed, tricked, like I've been tricked, utterly tricked, utterly deceived. A little bit later, though, just like I read, go and do what you do quickly. What Messiah does the harlot say they believe in? They don't believe in any Messiah. Do they know him and how much the Father and Messiah hates evil, that they're not going to be one with it? They don't allow it. Don't accept it, no rewards for it. Go and do what you do quickly. Go on to your destruction. It's the way it's got to be. I only pray for those that the Father gives me. I don't pray for the world, but only those that the Father gives me, he prayed and said. Well, if they were of him, they would know how good he is. But those that are not of him, oh, this is wicked. Oh, he's tempting. He's going to destroy us. He's wicked, evil. I would have been nice to Judas. I would have been friends with him and one with him and lie to him and say, it's okay. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong at all. Literally, not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. Through lies, saying all these things. You don't deserve that. Oh, really? You're God? Carnal person? Saying what someone deserves or not? That if someone does evil, they don't deserve any judgment back? Okay. Yeah, that's what people say, what? To look good. Not because they have a heart or care about that person. They use that person like a whore gets used to look good in front of people, to make a name for itself that it saves someone off the street. And then it's on the internet, it's on the website, it's on the radio. It did it for all itself. It never cared. It shit on them. That's what's going on every day. They didn't care about someone out there. They didn't do that with good intentions at all. Use them like a whore is used for their own self-pleasure and gain, to raise themselves up as God and good. Have zero love and care for that person. All right, I'm going to end it here. Peace, take care, seek truth from the Father above.